Hey everybody! Today's video is going to be a section out of another series where I am restoring and repairing this Miss Pac-Man machine. But during the process of that, I found that this tube, I believe, is to be bad. We swapped the chassis. Still, the picture on this is so dim you can barely see it with all the lights off. So I'm thinking the tube is bad, or either needs rejuvenating, which I've been wanting to do a video showing how to use a rejuvenator. And some of you may have questions: what is a rejuvenator? How does it work? Does it work? And how do you use it? So hopefully this video will address all that. So let's go take a look. I'll explain it and we'll see if we can rejuve this tube and what the results are. So let's go. Thanks again for joining us today about the rejuvenation of a picture tube. A rejuvenator is this little device. This is a 467 BK Precision Restore Analyzer. Of course, they don't make these anymore. The used to be a staple in TV and monitor repair back in the day. You can still find them maybe on eBay. Sometimes they can be costly. I got this one for a great deal, so I was happy to have got it. And this is supposedly one of the better ones because it has, if you can see, it's got the dials for each of the three separate color guns. And it supposedly has all the little adapters for depending on what kind of monitor, what kind of tube you're rejuvenating. Some of them are missing. I don't know if they were all included in the kit, but of course the two most common that you would use were not in the kit, so I ended up having to make some myself using the neck board, old neck boards off of old TV chassis or whatever that had the right configuration of pins, and just wired one of the pigtails into that, and I will show you that in a minute. I'll go through the whole process. You can still download this manual online that tells you how to set up the different sections. It goes through in detail on how to do the restoration, and also depending on what type of tube, it's got a big chart in here, several pages on the settings. If your tube type is a 470FL B22, your heater setting needs to be 6.3, and this is the adapter you would use. Like I said, none of the adapters that I have work. Really, you only have two main kind in the arcade world that I have noticed, and like I said, neither one of them was in here. So let me show you the ones that I made. This is the one we'll be using today for the G07 monitor in the Miss Pac-Man machine. And like I said, I just took the old neck board and depopulated the components off of it, and took one of the pigtails off of a adapter I would never use and soldered them to the correct pin configuration for the tube. So we'll be using that one today. One of the most important things you need to remember before you rejuvenate a tube is to take the anode cap off. Be sure to drain it with a tool and remove it, because if you leave it on there, supposedly something could backfeed in from the tube into the chassis and damage it, so you want to be sure to disconnect it completely. And basically, we just have the end that you would plug the adapter into, like so. This goes on the neck of the tube, and you plug this in, and then you set the dials and do the rejuvenation. We're going to go through that and show you everything. So let's get to it. Okay, here is a closer look at the Rejuvenator and the control panel. You've got heater range, sets for the heater, the G1, the mode you're in, the buttons that actually rejuvenate the different guns, and the G2 switch. And then you've got rejuvenate and clean and balance depending on what you need to do. Now if you'll look in this book that I was talking about, it'll have the first page is some basic, notes to just be aware of, and then models 467, which is what we have, how to set up and do everything. So the first thing you want to do is make sure all the knobs and dials are turned all the way to the left. This is off, and this G2 switch is on normal. And then you want to look up, depending on what tube you have. This is the tube we're working with, 19VM JP22. So we'll go to our charts in here to look up a 19 VM JP22 right here, and it'll tell you what heater voltage you want to use and which adapter. Now once again, I've made my own adapter, so that won't apply, and the heater voltage is 6.3. And I will also tell you that I have not done any rejuves that used any heater voltage other than 6.3. I don't, most all of them, if you'll look in there, is 6.3. There's, all the way down 6.3. I would be surprised if you would find one otherwise. There's some in here, but probably rare. But it's always good to check just in case you happen to have an oddball that uses a different one. Alright, at this point we're going to plug everything up into the tube and start running the test. Okay, we're at the back of the machine, and I've already removed the anode cap with my discharge tool, so we got that taken care of. We want to take the neck board off of the tube. Alright, and now we're going to plug our adapter into the Rejuvenator and plug this neck board on to the machine, just like we would the regular neck board. Unplug the ground so that'll kind of hang out of the way, not get in our way here. Okay, so our first step is we looked in the book and the heater was 6.3. So on this dial we want to go to the 4 to 7 because that's where our heater range is. And I have found sometimes if it's really bad, you can kick that heater range up a little bit and hit it with it. And then now this is a little bit risky because you could damage it, but if it's already to the point it's not working anyway, you give it a try, shoot a little more heater voltage to it and burn some of that stuff off better, and it has worked better when I've done that. But we're going to stay in the suggested range right now. So we're going to go to the setup mode, and you can see the dials moving, the pins or the needle on the dials moving, and this will tell us once we test it what range our guns are in. So we want to set the G1 voltage to 50 volts. So this is the G1, this is the heater. So each one of these corresponds to, you see heater volts, G1 volts, and line volts. So this is the meter to set the heater voltage, and we're going to set it right there at 6.3. Right there. And then the G1 says set to 50, And that is unless in the chart that we looked at earlier there's an asterisk beside it. And I do not believe there was an asterisk beside any of the ones we were looking at. I'll double check real quick. No, no asterisk. So we want to set the G1 volts to 50. That's right there. And now it says the leakage lamps will glow if leakage is, excessive. We have no lamp on right now, so no leaks. So if we did have a leakage, there'd be another procedure we'd go through, but we're good. We have nothing like that. So now you have to set the cutoff, and the cutoff for each gun is one of these three knobs here. You want to set the cutoff. It says the meter may read 0 or slightly above or below 0. Adjust each G2 control to add 1 division to reading of corresponding meter. I forgot to change the dial to set cutoff. Okay, we were in the setup phase, setting the heater in the G1. Now we have to set the cutoff. I forgot to turn the dial. Now let's try that again. Alright, this one is about at 0, so we want to turn it until it moves up 1 division, which is 1 line on the meter. I hope you can see it on the video okay. But we're still in the same boat. That didn't move anything. That didn't move anything. And that didn't move anything. So let's go back, change this to high, and see if we can get it to move. That moved a little bit. Now this monitor may be so far gone that's not even going to work. We've moved it all we can, so we'll just have to go with it like that. And you can check your settings, make sure the heater and all that is good. Go back here, we've got these cranked all the way up because the green did move a touch, but the red didn't move at all, and the blue didn't move at all. So that means it's pretty bad. But now we can go to test mode, and it says if all guns read in good region, emissions are okay. Well, these are as bad as it gets. So this definitely tells me this tube is possibly shot. I don't know if we can bring it back or not. But if any gun reads bad, proceed to restore. So that's what we're going to do. All guns read bad, so we're going to go to the restore part. And the first one is remove shorts. If G1K leakage is indicated, we don't have that, and we're not doing clean and balance. We're going to rejuvenate. Select gun to be restored when emission is in the bad region, and tracking cannot be corrected by clean and balance. Set function switch to rejuvenate, which it is, and wait 20 seconds, but it was already there. And then you push restore button directly under the meter of lowest emission gun. So I guess blue would be the lowest. Both of these are about the same. Maybe blue, red, and then green in that order. So you're supposed to start with the lowest one. So the pointer will immediately rise. You hold the button until the pointer begins to fall and release it when it reaches 0.5.
When I give the word, throw the first switch. You've got it, master.
So we're gonna basically push this button. The needle should go to the right and then start slowly coming down until we get to the 0.5, which is in the bad region. So, all right. So now we're going to change it to restore. Start with the blue and see what happens.
Go!
Alright, the needle, it's taking a while to fall, but it went down, so we let go of it. Now we're going to do the same thing with the red. And hold it until it gets back to the red and let go. And we're going to do the same thing with the green. Okay, so we're gonna go back to test. According to this, it's they're all very good, but it takes a while to stabilize, so they're going to start going down, and so we'll see where they end up. If they stay in the good, you know, we might have corrected this. I see no shorts. So red is pegged out. I don't know if that's good or bad. These are still in the good region. They started up there and started coming down. So we probably need to set our cutoffs again. We're going to turn them back down to where they were. And let's try it. Let's see if it'll work in normal this time, since we just look at that. It's actually moving on normal now. So we're going to move the cutoff one division up on that one. We're going to move the division one up on this one. Looking good because they're moving now in normal instead of having to go to high. Alright, we got the cutoff set. Now we're going to go to test. And we are all in the good. So this may work out better than I was thinking it would. So, I mean, we could try to shoot this one again and this one to get it a little bit better, but I've always heard the enemy of good enough is better. So we're just going to test it, see what it looks like, see if it's improved at all. If it shows any picture at all, it will be improved over what it was. So let's hook the chassis back up and see what we got. I'm going to turn this off. And we'll be back in just a second. Alright, the moment of truth. I've got everything hooked back up. I've dimmed the lights a little bit, so hopefully if it is dim you can still see it. But like I said, any improvement at all over a black screen would be improvement. So let's crank it up and see what it looks like. Well, I don't see anything as of yet, but I don't know how high I have the brightness on the flyback. Oh, I can see something. I can see something. Now that it's... Let me crank the brightness up a little bit. Too much. Well, like I said, that is an improvement, but this monitor, this tube was so bad, and you can see how burned in it is. I'm surprised it's working at all. And we've got it's probably some chassis problems, but we do have a picture. Not a great picture, but we might can adjust it out and make it a little bit better. I'm going to tinker with it and see what we can get it to do. Okay, after some adjusting, I was able to get it much better. Definitely not anywhere close to perfect and nowhere near where I want it to be, so I'll probably end up getting rid of this tube because of the burn-in anyway. But I just wanted to show you that rejuvenating does work, and in a home environment is probably all you need to do to maintain it for several more years. Let me start the game so you can... And like I said, beforehand, you could not even see anything but
Darkness, everybody! Everyone! Darkness is spreading!
just barely anything with the lights completely off and the brightness turned all the way up. So, like I said, a definite improvement. So what I'll probably do, I may even try to rejuvenate it one more time to see if I can get it to clear up even more. But for right now, that is the little tutorial on rejuvenating. So that is how you rejuvenate a tube. I hope it made sense. I hope I didn't confuse anybody too bad. I probably confused myself a little bit because in all honesty, it's been a little while since I've done one myself, and I had to refamiliarize myself with the ins and outs of it. So
allow myself to introduce myself.
if I misspoke or said anything that was a little confusing, I apologize, but please feel free to email me at dirtysouthpinball.com. I'll answer any questions I can and do so as quickly as possible. But as you can see, a Rejuvenator can do some pretty amazing things to a monitor that's on the brink of extinction. It brought this one back from total blackness to a monitor that could be used, and wasn't too bad of a picture really. It's a handy tool to have, especially if you have a lot of arcades with CRTs. It's good to maintain them, even if they're working pretty decently. It can sharpen them up, brighten them up, and make the colors pop a lot better. And in a home environment that the machines aren't on 24 hours a day, you're just playing them, you know, you're on while they're on while you're playing them. You turn them off when you get through. It should last quite a while. So I would recommend getting one if you have a lot of arcades. You can still find them on eBay. You can probably find them on klov.com, people selling them. So it's a good thing to have and can save you some money and time if you have a monitor that's going out or tube that's going out on you. So hopefully I can get some more videos out on the Miss Pac-Man pretty soon. The time it takes to edit and get these things out, so it takes me a while. So hit the like and subscribe button if you're interested. It'll let you know when the next video comes out, and keep an eye on it, and we'll try to get them out as soon as we can. So thanks so much for watching, and until next time,